What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today is August the 1st. I want to give you a pre-market update, go over some hot movers and what big money is doing today. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, initial jobless claims just came out and it is a little bit hotter than anticipated. So 249 versus 236. But oddly, I don't know if we're back into maybe inverse scenario mode and not normal in the market, because maybe we do want negative data, because as far as once this came out, which generally isn't the best, you saw this jump up right here. So once again, I was really hoping that we were kind of moving away from the inverse market scenario, but it looks like we're going back to, once again, needing negative data. So it's not necessarily the best, I guess, but fear and greed index right now is at 54, so under the neutral category. A lot of good companies have been unveiling their earnings over this last couple days, giving a lot of optimism to the broader market. So that's what's been really moving it a little bit higher. And as of right now, I just wanted to bring this up for the September 18th meeting. Now there is a 86.5% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut, and despite Powell even kind of quashing that 50 basis point, I guess, optimism, there still is a 13.5% likelihood of a 50 basis point cut. So kind of interesting to note, but without further ado, let's get right to it. SOFI right now is down slightly. No actual news from the company itself, no SEC filing. So again, just kind of piggybacking off of the broader market. You did have shorts rather active yesterday. So 16.97% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 176.2 million shares overall are being shorted. So we already do know SOFI, and anywhere around that 750 mark, they're going to get relatively active. So once again, kind of just stay tuned for that. And actually it looks like it seems to be slightly green. So just watch for 750. On the flip side, 721 to be the strong support below that. And then 797 to be that next strong resistance. Moving on to ARM, they're getting massacred this morning. And it wasn't necessarily bad results from their earnings, but it was the lack of future guidance. So as you can kind of see, so the key metrics came in relatively good. Just I think the future guidance, which I don't believe had anything to do with more of a slowdown, just timing of payments. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's an overreaction possibly. So I do see that this might be bought up potentially. Again, you guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day, but 11.93% of the free floats being shorted. Shorts have been slowly entering back into this company. So it went from roughly around 6% short interest to where it is now. So something to consider. Definitely not a squeeze play, so don't take that out of context, but with that at 129 and change, it is trading between this S2 and this S1. So 120 will be the strong support, which I don't anticipate being touched today. On the flip side, 133 will be that next strong resistance. If anything, I actually do feel that it's going to touch this S1 or potentially recover. It won't get back to the 144s, but I feel like it will trade between this S1 and the pivot. So something to keep in mind. And then Meta, so they had some pretty kick-ass earnings. And I feel like I've always just looked at Meta and just called it Facebook until like recently. Randomly something switched in my head, just call Meta Meta. It's very weird. But anyways, so they did have earnings, pretty much a triple beat. Very, very good stuff on that regard. You can kind of see that right here. So good key metrics, good future guidance. It's not heavily shorted, so 1.37% of the free floats being shorted, which rightfully so. Who on earth would short Meta as of right now? But as you can kind of see, shorts have been kind of just flip-flopping back and forth, but again, nothing to really keep note of. Right now with it at 515, it is trading between this pivot and this R1, so 498 will be a strong support. I don't anticipate that to be touched whatsoever today unless something crazy does happen, but I don't, again, no data points, no Fed speakers really today, so I don't see this being touched. And then 519 will be the next strong support resistance / target. And even in that regard, like their earnings were good, but not to really justify a probably even at this stage, if it gets to 519, a 10+% green day, I just don't see that feasible. So I feel like it's just going to kind of trade within this range, not really touch either of the points. But what do I know? And still, speaking on earnings, TDOC got absolutely massacred, so they missed on a lot of the key metrics. It is heavily shorted, so anticipate shorts to really double down. 20.43% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 34.32 million shares overall are being shorted. Recently, it was at a all-time high short interest, which was roughly, looks like about 21%, pretty close to where it is now. So yeah, in essence, I do see maybe shorts re-entering into this company. If you're looking at trading it with it at 756, the next very strong support is around 4 and then 11. So just, it's going to be a lot of volatility in the foreseeable future. So kind of just anticipate that. And last but not least, ticker BBLG is getting a abnormal amount of volume. So it is up 47%, so $3.19. Oddly, there hasn't been any news, no SEC filings. The only thing to really justify that was this. I even searched social media, like a lot of people are just posting abnormal volume and technicals, but no real news. So it's kind of just a random whatever is going up. It hasn't done a reverse stock split because I know sometimes that has done some prompted a squeeze in the past randomly, but the last time they did a reverse stock split was December 20th, 2023. So clearly outside the parameters of what 2024 likes. There was these warrants though, so it does have a peak exercise price of $3.20. So this was posted by this individual right here, so got to give him a shout out. So yeah, maybe that is where it's kind of linked to warrants, why it is going up and gravitating towards this $3.20. So again, something to keep in mind. And right now it is somewhat heavily shorted as well. So 17.77% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 179.04 thousand shares. Then again, if you kind of look at this attribute, this is what 2024 does like to squeeze. Kind of low float companies and heavily shorted. So something to kind of consider. This is what they do on a side note in case you're curious, because I don't think a lot of people maybe have heard of this company. Biotech, 2 employees, founded in 2004, based out of Burlington in the States. So yeah, interesting day. I do feel that today is going to be a lot of higher highs for the tech sector and just, I think, a lot more optimism associated to rate cuts. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with all that said, appreciate all of you watching.